Hello, everyone, Orlando, Orange County, and everybody in between that has been following this candidate tailgate experience from Saturday. Listen, I am excited. I'm going to say I'm sitting with my sister girl, okay? Because I've watched you for so many years and looked up to you and everything that you're doing in the community. So this is an honor to sit with you prior to election because I know it's busy right now.
Yes, it is. We're in the last few hours
Yes.
of this election. We have just 3 more days or 2 days and a half for
Okay.
early voting for folks to
Okay.
go and cast their ballots. And then election day is on Tuesday.
So listen, we are one on one with Kamia Brown. Kamia is running for District 2.
District 2, yes.
Okay, we want to thank you to our sponsor before we get all the way off into politics, the strengths, and everything in between. To Southern Style Barbecue, who is responsible for all of the creating of the content, the recording. We thank you for allowing us this opportunity to interview candidates and make this very important conversation a part of the community days up before election time. So if you have not visited Southern Style Barbecue, reach out to them, 4890 Edgewater Drive, and let them know IBA Success sent you.
Oh,
So before we talk politics now,
yes.
tell people who Kamia Brown is when the title and resume are just taken away.
Oh, wow. Kamia is a mom.
Okay.
Kamia is a lover of all things. She's a lover of God.
Okay.
And she loves, she is a woman of service. I can say that just sort of every aspect, all of my life, I've just had the heart to serve, whether it was ushering, whether it was in the choir, at church, whether it was helping my grandmother fix Sunday dinner or the Friday fish fries or funnel cakes. I've always loved to bake. So I would also say I'm one who is a baker. And I
Okay.
do a lot of that in my relaxed time. That's something I truly have a passion for.
I did not know that.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
gonna
yes,
have to put
yes.
that to test.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And I will challenge you to do so
Okay.
because it is it's one way for me to keep my grandmother alive. My
Okay.
family is very important to me.
Okay.
Very grounded. I have a big family. I'm related to the Browns here in Orlando, and then my mom's are Benjamins that grew up in Ivor Lane, and she had, I guess, 10 siblings. So
Okay.
a very large family, but both of my grandparents love to cook.
Okay.
And so in my pastime, it's one of the most favorite things I love to do to just honor their memory and to bring everybody together. So,
That's a
yeah.
great way. Good food is a great way to
Yes.
bring everyone together. So you grew up here, you've worked in government, you've served in Tallahassee, and now you're coming back seeking a county seat.
Yes.
What experiences in your own life shape the way you serve people?
Well, I'm from this particular community, so I would say being here and growing up here, I truly understand the community as a whole here in Orange County. Some of the things we love most, but also some of the growth and transition that has
Okay.
come along. And then, now raising a son, now see, where and what that future needs to look like. And so just looking to help shape it.
Was there ever a moment when someone came to you needing help and their situation stayed with you long after the meeting was over?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I would say pretty much that's everyone.
Okay.
There have been so many and countless examples of that. One in particular, family who I think of often is Rosemary Slaughter Pate's family.
Okay.
She was a resident of Ocoee years ago and lost her life at the hand of her son.
Wow.
And when I met the family who was doing sort of advocacy around her life and what changes and things needed to happen in the community, I met them when I was a legislative aide, actually,
Okay.
serving. And so when I got elected, they were one of the really the first people. Again, it's just stayed with me that 2, 3+ years.
Mhm.
And and that was one of the first bills that I sponsored when I got elected in the House, and we were able to pass it.
You know, you've worked on both sides.
Yes.
I would say working as a legislative assistant, did that teach you something that you weren't expected to learn?
Yes. Just yeah, and I can shape that in all conversations, but that's honestly why I chose the profession.
Okay.
Years ago, I would say all of my life, I wanted to be an attorney. I was one of those kids that watched the Cosby Show
Mm-hmm.
and was a huge fan and admired Felicia Rashad.
Okay.
And so that was sort of my path.
Okay.
I was going to study, go to FAMU, study political science. But while there on an internship, I've heard about Congress or I've heard about, city and local government, but never really knew and understood state government until I got a chance to see it firsthand. And
Okay.
it was at that time I knew this was where I needed to be.
Okay.
A lot of times, and it was again, and my family just are, we've been instilled to be community people, right? And to serve. And a lot of times with my community, we're very reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And even when in trouble and things of that nature, we look to become attorneys so we can interpret the law, right? We want to be able to make change in our community. And so I saw this as a way to make change on the front end.
Okay.
I wanted to be able to help with drafting those laws and more importantly, have an impact on it on the first front end based off of my age.
Mm-hmm.
With many of the legislators that were there, most of them were sort of seniors in their career,
Okay.
you know, 50, 60, 70-year olds making legislation that typically wouldn't affect them.
Okay.
If we look at the 20-year, we're supposed to affect policy down the line, not for today. And my thing is, what they were passing would affect me more than it'll affect them. And
Okay.
so that's really what made me stay and want to follow the path of being a legislative aide. It kind of gave me sort of all of my passions.
Okay.
There was work and play, during the time. We were able to, in Tallahassee, we created, sort of a family sense, but also there was a lot of work and we were able to kind of get into the community based off of where, I worked. So
So you've served 3 terms in the Florida House.
yes, so I got elected in 2016 and served till 2022.
What accomplishments from those 6 years are you most proud of?
I'm proud of all of it.
Okay.
Just being a minority member in a sort of Republican controlled legislature. It
Okay.
is very, very hard.
Okay.
And it is a skill that's important. If you want to be effective, it's a strategy. You got to kind of come with it. But one of the things I'm most proud of is Medicaid benefits.
Okay.
We've taught as Democrats have always talked about Medicaid expansion, right? And how it could benefit so many people. And we've talked about it with making sure the governor chooses to expand Medicaid for all. However, it was again just Republicans. That's just not their thing and strategy. So it was something that typically we know would never happen. And with this particular bill, it expanded Medicaid for postpartum women.
Okay.
The state at the time did 6 weeks. So for years, you only get 6 weeks with healthcare, and then after that, you kicked off.
Okay.
We know, and we've seen over the past several years, Black maternal health and so many Black women dying. We know that they are 3 to 4 times more likely to die than white women postpartum.
Mm.
And so this was something I wanted to champion just due to my god sister.
Okay.
I was in maybe middle school when she passed.
Okay.
And again, passed postpartum after delivering her newborn. So it was something I was able to champion um, in a climate no one really thought could happen, but it was able to just impact so many women, and I appreciated that.
So this is personal
Oh
to
yeah,
you.
oh yeah,
You've already served at state level. Why county commission, and why does Kamia Brown believe she can make a bigger, different impact locally?
I think I can make a bigger impact local because of just the many years of experience. I got 20 years of governmental experience.
Okay.
Like I say, working pretty much any and every side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And with District 2 needs someone who's experienced,
Okay.
that doesn't need to learn it once they come in, but really be able to hit the ground running. Me, I know how to write policy. I've drafted it. I've worked directly with folks to amend, and I know how to work collaboratively. And I think that's also something that's need not only that benefits District 2, but benefits our entire county. You see a lot of times where people are, you know, really harvesting on things that doesn't give you a full understanding of the picture.
Okay.
And me just understanding, local government, working in constituent services, helping people cut through red tape, working from the state aspect, but then also have the skills and experience that also tied it federally.
Mm-hmm.
And so those things are really that's those types of skills are what's important to move our community forward.
Yes.
We see in District 2 many needs, but we see a lot of things happening. You
Okay.
talk to residents, you see so much growth and homes coming all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see not necessarily the infrastructure needs kind of keeping up with it. Folks are spending a lot of time on the roads versus with their families, and so it's a skill that I'm able to bring with knowing and understanding what a budget looks like, how to actually put one together because I served and served as ranking member on budget committees. And it's a perspective I would say many of my opponents don't necessarily have.
Okay.
You have some that have worked constituent services for a couple years, but again, have never been one to sit at the table. And it's important to understand how to sit at the table, but also how to bring differences to the table to make some good work.
District 2, a lot of the families there feel like, government remembers them through election time. What
Mm-hmm.
would you tell them about you being their commissioner?
Well, I would say, and my advice would always be to um, make them remember you.
Okay.
And making them remember you is building that relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I've always been sort of accessible. And with me serving as state representative of District 45, I covered various pockets, but also various cities: City of
Okay.
Winter Garden, City of Ocoee, City of Apopka. You also had Lockhart and the big community of Pine Hills,
Mm-hmm.
Zellwood even. But I only live in one area.
Right.
But what folks knew is if they had my phone number, they knew that they could call me and Kamia came. And I think it's important that we, as a community, do better with engaging all of our legislators, our county commissioners, our mayors, of really, understanding, going online, sitting in some of the meetings, visiting some of their offices,
Mm-hmm.
and even inviting them if there are community events or activities that are happening, or many of our churches, because you hear that with the churches all the
Yes.
time. It's all you only come. Me, I serve in my church. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but it's important that the relationship is vice
Yes.
versa, right?
Yes.
You make sure that person knows who you are. You engage and stay on top of
Mm-hmm.
really what's going on, and people will have a better sort of understanding. But I also think it would hold elected officials more accountable because they know folks are watching. A lot of times, folks kind of shift off
Mm-hmm.
or veer off of really working for the community because they feel, oh, they're not going to pay attention, or oh, they don't really understand
Mm-hmm.
this. But it's important to engage, ask questions, and things of that nature.
um, Community involvement, paying attention to the community within District 2, would you feel like it's any specific neighborhood in that community that hasn't gotten its fair share of attention from the county?
I would say the further you go west,
Okay.
it becomes that. You have, let's say, for example, South Apopka, that sort of in the midst of, while they're not in the city, they're in the county.
Okay.
Um, but they're right by the city, and the city they vote in city elections. But a lot of times, many in that community, I feel, are left behind.
Yeah.
You have so many, even Zellwood or Plymouth Sorrento. You have many sort of these larger initiatives that, let's say, local or even state government, but let's say local government put in place, and needs assessments. But a lot of times that stuff stops at your Pine Hills, but there's so many deficiencies in those areas. Transportation. When you look at more of our rural areas, a lot of times they're left behind. And I would say that is one of the most things I'm excited about with running and hopefully getting the honor to work for these communities again, is really making sure they don't feel so left behind, and that we make sure we put services there. I tried my best when I was a state representative. We made sure if there was an initiative, as soon as a hurricane hit or something like that, that was one of the first areas I would go to.
Okay.
When COVID hit, one of the first areas I knew, because no everyone else is focused on the city or your paramours or many of your downtown communities, but not necessarily really focused on East Winter Garden or stuff like that. So yeah.
I noticed that your campaign identifies a little about affordable housing and opportunities for working families. I know as a mother, you can relate to that. And so a mother can work full time in Orange County and still struggle to afford to live there. What responsibility do you think the county government have to that mother?
I think it's important to understand that as we are looking at many of our initiatives, the county has already sort of put an act, a plan, a housing plan, right? But also, we got to look at some of the other incentives and things. To me, yesterday's price is not today's price.
Okay.
But we're looking at how we assist folks with affordable housing and things of that nature. And then also affordability, we see a lot of focus on a lot of the larger homes, but not something that is it's a home, right?
Right.
But it's not attainable. And I think it's important that we may have to create smaller units, whether it's townhome communities, or some dwell ADUs in communities to sort of help with, again, making sure things are affordable. I'm dealing with that again. It's personal for me. A mom who is a single mom with a son who most of my money is paying for healthcare services,
Yes.
and therapies for my son. I have a mom who is aging, and again is on a living check to check due to retirement.
Right.
And so she no longer needs a big home anymore, can really deal with the upkeep of that. And so, how are we, focused on making sure any of our seniors have or able to age where they, at a place or a community that they help build, and finding something attainable for them, but also many of our young people, making sure they're able to attain home ownership, because now they're being priced out when we look at sort of the average income, in our areas. So whether you're a single mom or, just a young person trying to make a living, I think it's important that we kind of look at how do we include or become more inclusive in the types of units we're building.
Have you thought about the plan that you will do to kind of incorporate some of this?
Well, definitely, it is definitely again, there is some permitting and zoning things that will have to change. So that's one of the things that I would want to look at when I get there. as far as looking at what are some of those sort of forecasts. There are so many. If I drive through that area, you have so many areas that is growing, areas where there is development coming up, but there's so many projects that's to come. And so it's really looking at what those projects look like, because I think there has to be a more smart growth approach with what we're doing, and then also balancing it because again, the city, it's the city that's doing a lot of this sort of permitting or a lot of the arrangements of really getting a lot of this housing. County has some of it in the district, but it's mainly with the city of Apopka. So another thing is making sure we work together with those city officials, working with, sitting down with the mayor, working with him, as well as that commission to make sure we are doing right. While this is an area we've seen that has the opportunity for development and growth, but making sure we're not sending folks that have lived there all these years out of there because they're not used to the growth. Right. But we can't grow them out of that community. So it has to be balanced. And I think that there has to be more synergy with county and local government. So those are the things that I would prioritize.
You know, you talked a little bit about healthcare. What did the experience teach you about the relationship between zip codes, income, and quality of life?
Quality of life is relative, I would say.
Okay.
Zip codes matter.
Yes.
And it's important that we look at, like I said, it's relative, but looking at everything different from that perspective in that community. Each of the communities are unique. They're all slapped there together. Ocoee and Pine Hills, you right turn on the, you know what I mean? And so each of those communities needs something different. You know, while it is all affordability, you know, everyone wants a great quality of life. Everyone wants public safety or, you know, a safe place to live, work, raise their family, but it all looks different.
Looks different for everyone. And I know county commissioners are not doctors. No. But Orange County invests heavily in healthcare, mental health, homelessness, and social services. Where do you think we're falling short?
We're falling short with what I would consider sort of health equity.
Okay.
And I think there has to be a greater investment. And what I mean by that is when I say relatives, you need to give that person what they need to thrive.
Okay.
You know, I may have, and I give this example of Miss Johnson may be a diabetic. And Miss Johnson go to the doctor, so she has her doctor who provides her diabetic medication. But somehow, some way, she's always not adherent to that medication. She's always in a hospital. Some would say she has adequate health care, correct? However, we haven't looked at the reason why Miss Johnson ain't taking her medicine, or with her taking the medicine, still is having health complications. What we need to do is look deeper to find out why is it Miss Johnson? Because we could say, oh, she's getting medicine, oh, she's going to the doctor, but the underlying root is Miss Johnson don't have a working refrigerator at her house. So how are we making sure that we look at the holistic of the situation versus the big things that are there, and treating everyone individually to better have better health outcomes, but also it takes the community to do so. Right. So where you have 50 million nonprofit organizations, everybody got a association or their own nonprofit for whatever advocacy work, and it's going to take all of those nonprofits, all of those organizations to really wrap around to those communities. And then those communities are only going to really react to some of those people again when you're building trust. And so it takes the village. And so when we not only look at that for our children, it's important we also have to look at that as a community as well.
You know, you've already experienced Tallahassee politics.
Hmm.
What's something public service taught you about working with people who fundamentally don't agree with you?
It is understanding our differences, but finding commonality in some.
Hmm.
Still leaving that door open
Okay.
for conversation. I always say I still have, like, me and my brother, we go at it,
Okay.
but we still got to coexist.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And we still are a family. We still have the greater good of making sure mom knows we're going to look after each other
Hmm.
when all else, when, she's away. And it's just the same way with working with people with differences. There are many ways, as they say, it's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes.
It's more than one way or more than one solution.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna have all the answers, and certainly I feel you ain't gonna have all the answers. But if we put our synergy together, kind of and uh, put our pride aside and come to the greater good of what's best for the community, I think you get better outcomes.
As I've been doing the interviews, I've asked many of the candidates, what is leadership to you?
Leadership is because it's yeah, I can go on about leadership, but leadership is a person who is of service,
Hmm.
one who shares himself, but one who also knows how to take direction
Okay.
as well,
Hmm.
and know that that leadership is based off of those they are leading,
Mm.
based off of the needs of whether that's that village, whether that is that office staff or anything, based off of the needs of that business or an organization. You you move off of that direction of the
Yes.
people you serve.
So you're not a first time candidate. You're asking for voters. You have a record.
Hmm.
Is there a one vote decision that you made in Tallahassee that you would have changed how you made that decision?
I would say no.
Okay.
I would say no for the fact that there are many tough decisions,
Okay.
but based off of hearing sort of
Hmm.
both sides and how it would affect, there were things definitely that I wasn't comfortable about,
Right.
but based off of the information I had in front of me, again, I knew why I was there, and I would go off of that.
That.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk a lot about your village, have what has your village been doing for you throughout this campaign?
Ooh, good and bad. Criticism, I'm just joking. They think they're my boss.
Okay.
So, I have 80 million deputy campaign managers.
Okay.
But they have definitely have stood in the trenches. It's hot this summer, and
Yes.
so they have definitely been committed to walking with me, um, being keeping my name out there or in rooms where I'm not. As a matter of fact,
Hmm.
I just got a message on my way here of a friend, my link sister, as a matter of fact, who sent me a picture of my postcard that was in Lake Mary in her office just by chance. And she's
Okay.
like, and it's crazy, this thing keeps appearing. She saw it somewhere in a pop, but then she saw it in a grocery store in Longwood.
Okay.
So I know that that is my village
Yes.
working on my behalf. And one thing I can say, they've always believed in me,
Hmm.
and they have been encouraging me throughout this summer and fall. So
Yes.
I am so grateful, 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 grateful for my village near and far. So
Yes. So politics talks a lot about working families.
yeah.
I want you to forget the political phrase. When you picture the person you're fighting for, what do you see?
What do I see? A person. I see a person who is. That's a good question. But I see a person in need. I
Okay.
see a person who has the strength,
Okay.
but just needs the help with the navigation and the confusion. that goes along with getting to the other side.
Yes.
So many families that I have worked with have had the will, have had the strength, and have wanted to make better or do better or change an outcome,
Okay.
um, but just needed an additional helping hand or additional fighter to help them navigate towards their victory.
Yes, I think navigation and leadership is so
Yeah.
important.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And having someone that has experience and is setting the
Mm-hmm.
table in all areas.
Yep.
You know, there's several qualified people asking for votes for this seat.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you bring to the table that voters won't get from them?
I get you get one who has the experience for
Okay.
one. You get one who has the receipts of what they've done.
Okay.
I have done numerous of things that have impacted not only my community here in Orlando, but a lot of my impact is statewide.
Okay.
And I have helped mentor so many others in this process. I am one who brings relationships.
Okay.
You know, relationships are very important when
Yes.
we're really looking at things because, again, you need, these communities need more than just policy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they need inspiration, they need navigation, they need resources, they need programs. So, you know, when we look at workforce training programs, we can put policy there all day, but it's how are we building a relationship to actually move the needle to bring
Mm-hmm.
in those resources and do things a little unconventional from
Mm-hmm.
what you know it is traditionally. Many people and issues that plague a community are complex,
Mm-hmm.
and I have done, and that's the difference. I have done those that have been complex, but have made impact. And, you know, these are things that I've done, I continue to do, whether I've served or haven't served. While I think everyone is great in their own right, folks the others will tell you what they will do
Okay.
and what they can do. I can tell you what I've done.
I like that answer. You know, one thing that I've noticed with just talking to candidates and then being here inside of Jenny's and actually talking to some customers, everybody says experience, experience.
Mm-hmm.
I had a customer the other day say, you know, is experience a good thing or is it a bad thing when someone has already been working in the government and we're experiencing what we're experiencing right now? What would be your not argument, but what would be your response to them?
Right. I hear them and truly understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to put a little more context to, you know, what they're saying, and, you know, where you're able to gauge when is experience good and
Mm-hmm.
when is it, you know, okay, we need new experience.
Right.
But, you know, these seats have term limits.
Yes.
And a lot of times you got to look at with term limits, you're giving someone just a very little time to actually kind of get things done. I'll give you a perfect example. You
Okay.
got 8 years in the House of Representatives in Tallahassee. Most folks come in there and it takes them at least 4 to 6 years to really understand a budget,
Okay.
because budgets, you're dealing with billions of dollars. That budget is not something that people will get on their first try, second, third, or fourth.
Okay.
Again, knowing how to navigate and understand the political, like, policy process,
Okay.
not everyone gets that. You have many attorneys that come into the legislature and still need help. Most folks that come in the legislature able to make impact, they usually do that on year 6.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're talking about with the local seat, same thing. We now have put term limits. They got 8. You got 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so with many of these projects that, you know, these potholes, these parks, that stuff don't happen overnight.
Right.
And so you need someone that's able to hit the ground running, because that policy will affect the future of that community.
Right.
And you need someone who is able to do that on the front end or when they get in there, to be able to affect more change versus someone who needs to really understand and know what they need to do or where the bathroom So, or what agency or department does what.
Right.
That's when leadership matters. Now, federal government, there are no term limits,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
And we have to measure a person's time based off of the needs of that community and how we are looking to move that community forward.
Yes.
A lot of times people get complacent, and you get those that are in these seats for 20, 30, 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what we've seen has not any change. They
Right.
haven't been able to bring resources home to a community. That's when, regardless of you, it's time
It's time.
to figure somebody else out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it that
Um, I've watched you as a mom.
way.
You are campaigning with your son. What do you think you're teaching him about leadership?
Teaching him that he is his community,
Yes.
and service is the rent we pay.
Yes.
Okay, and so it's going to be something that was just the same way it was instilled in me,
Yes.
it will be instilled in him. That it is our job to shape our community.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at something we don't like,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? It's up to us to not complain, but we go see how we can help or how we can impact the change.
Mm-hmm.
I am also teaching him is to open your mouth,
Yes.
because it's important to have everybody's voice included. That's how things become better,
Okay.
because everybody can make impact.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say only these person or this person based off of the way you came up or you grew up is the only people that should have an impact or decision.
Mm-hmm.
It takes everybody. Everybody has different lived experiences, but also, yeah, it is definitely how he can impact his community. One thing I've never looked at these things are is as a title.
Okay.
It is how can I help based off of my passions and the things that I like to do. How can I help someone
Mm-hmm.
with my resources? You know
Right.
what I mean? My gifts.
Right.
And so that is something that I definitely look forward to continuing to nurture that in him.
Yes. I think that's the question that we as a community should look in the mirror and ask each
Yeah.
other, ask ourselves. How can we help? How can we be an asset to the communities that we live in? I know for me, after doing all the tailgate interviews, it's about using your voice.
Mm-hmm.
It is about voting. It is about making informed decisions.
Yes.
If a person still has questions before they vote, how can they reach out to you?
They can go to KamiaBrown.vote.
Okay.
There has information on my campaign, what I'm all about. You can message me there.
Okay.
There's even a phone number you can get if there are questions. I've been getting plenty of emails
Mm-hmm.
because again, this district is huge. You have over 120,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
You have just a short amount of time, less than a year, to get your message to,
Yes.
and it is the hope that many of these folks will go out and exercise their vote and vote in the best candidate. And so I can't go to every door. And so
Mm-hmm.
we have various messaging through communications. We've done mail. Sorry for all the mail, but again, we need folks to engage.
Right.
We've done text. And then you also have a website. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So you want to make sure that you go on to our website, which again is one more time for us.
KamiaBrown.vote.
Yes, check her out. Read. We need to make informed decisions.
Yes.
If somebody's sitting on their couch, because there's a lot of somebodies that's watching these
Yes.
tailgate events
Yes,
today.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
they are sitting on their couch and they're sipping their tea and
Yes.
they're saying, who am I going to vote for? Talk to them and tell them why they need to vote for you.
Look, I am Kamia Brown, and I am asking for your vote. I have spent 20 years with navigating and helping folks uh, 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 do better and get better outcomes in their leaders. I am looking to continue to do that more local. I have a career that has impacted communities for generations. We have fire departments. When I got a call, I've always answered my call. And so here it is another call to this community to have someone who is accessible and someone who can provide great leadership and we do it together, again, together. So hit me up on the web page or follow my social media. There are plenty ways to connect with me if you have any questions. But I just ask that you go and vote. And if you need a choice, if you haven't decided, choose this one, Kamia Brown.
Listen, you all, this is the wrap up of another amazing interview.
Thank you.
Listen, was it hard questions?
It
Am I
was
giving you some hard
not
questions?
at
Okay.
all.
Because I'm not holding back.
This was
Okay.
great.
I am here to provide informed decisions, you all. I don't hear it. I hear it every day in the community how leadership matters. And I hear complaints. So I want you all to go out to vote and continue following this tailgate candidate interview. We'll be right back.